In the gloomy days of the 2025-2026 Premier League season, Manchester United once again faced the nightmare of failure. On November 23, 2025, at the legendary Old Trafford Stadium, the Red Devils welcomed Everton in a dramatic round. It should have been an easy match, a chance for Ruben Amorim and his team to regain confidence after a series of erratic performances. However, the final result was a bitter 0-1 defeat, even though the opponent was down to 10 men after an Everton player was sent off in the 60th minute. And at the centre of the storm of criticism was not the tactical mistakes or the loose defence, but the silent figure of Joshua Zirkzee, the Dutch striker trusted by the Portuguese coach to play the full 90 minutes. What happened on the pitch was not only a disappointing performance, but also sparked anger from fans, turning Zirkzee into a symbol of failure, even being called a crime, and calls for him to be sent off in the January transfer window echoed across forums. Let's go back in time a bit to better understand the context that led to Ruben Amorim's controversial decision. Manchester United, under the talented strategist from Sporting Lisbon, have gone through a tumultuous journey since he took over in mid-2025. Amorim brings a high-pressing style of play, focusing on flexibility in attack with sharp short passes and the ability to quickly transition. However, the Red Devils' biggest problem is still the unstable striker. Benjamin Sesko, a blockbuster contract from RB Leipzig, injured his knee ligaments in a pre-season friendly, forcing him to miss at least 3 months of play. Benjamin Cunha, a promising reserve option from Wolves, also suffered a muscle problem just days before the Everton game. In a desperate situation, Amorim was forced to give Joshua Zirkzee a chance. The 24-year-old was signed from Bologna for €42 million in the summer of 2024, but has been pushed to the fringes of the first team since the start of the season. It was Zirkzee's second start of the season, after a start in the Carabao Cup against Barnsley where he made a lackluster impression with a fortunate penalty goal. Joshua Zirkzee, with a height of 1m93 and a personal technique that was highly appreciated during his time at Bayern Munich, was once likened to a hybrid version of Erling Haaland and Marco van Basten. He joined Manchester United with the hope of becoming the second penalty killer after Cristiano Ronaldo. However, harsh reality quickly extinguished those illusions. Since the beginning of the season, Zirkzee has only played 147 minutes in all competitions, mostly coming off the bench in the final minutes. The reason? Inconsistent form, poor finishing ability and Amorim's lack of coordination in the team. The Portuguese coach, famous for his strictness, publicly criticized Zirkzee in press conferences. He needs to prove his worth. We don't buy players to sit on the bench. And this second chance, against Everton, should have been the turning point. But instead of shining, Zirkzee turned it into a nightmare that lasted 90 minutes. The match started with Manchester United dominating. From the first minute, Bruno Fernandes had a sharp assist for Amad Diallo, who almost scored with a volley that hit the crossbar. Everton, under David Moyes, former MU captain, played solid defence, focusing on 2 central defenders James Tarkowski and Gerard Branthwaite. Zirkzee, paired with Rasmus Højlund in a 3-4-3 formation, was expected to be the detonator with his ability to fight in the air and press. However, what fans witnessed was a confused and unconfident Zirkzee. In the first 45 minutes, he only touched the ball 18 times, losing the ball 7 times, an alarming number for a central striker. Not a single successful dribble, not a single coordinated play with Højlund or Alejandro Garnacho on the wings. Instead, Zirkzee repeatedly chose safe passes, resulting in 5 errors in 12 touches in the opposition half. Amorim, from the coaching bench, could see clearly his students' helplessness. Zirkzee seemed to not understand his position in the system, often dropping deep into the middle of the pitch instead of penetrating the penalty area as required. The second half saw a turning point when Everton were sent off in the 60th minute for a blatant foul by Abdoulaye Doucouré on Kobbie Mainoo. Manchester United now had the upper hand, 11 against 10, plus their tired opponents. But instead of taking the opportunity to explode, Zirkzee continued to disappear. From the 60th to the 80th minute, he did not have a single touch in Everton's final third. It was not until the 80th minute that Zirkzee had his first shot, a volley from a Diogo Dalot cross, but the ball went over the bar to jeering whistles from the stands. Before that, he missed 2 golden chances, a cross-field pass from Bruno Fernandes in the 25th minute, where Zirkzee headed in weakly from 10 meters, and a breakaway in the 72nd minute, where he fired a shot from close range that was easily saved by goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Zirkzee's headers, which were supposed to be his strongest weapon, were a laughingstock. They lacked precision, decisiveness, and, more importantly, lacked intelligent penetration into the space between Everton's 2 central defenders. Fans couldn't help but compare. If it had been Sesko, those situations would have ended in goals. Zirkzee, instead of being a bridge between the midfield, with Diallo, Bumo and Fernandes leading the way in terms of shots, dribbles and passes, became a liability, slowing down the team's attacking tempo. The 0-1 defeat came in the 85th minute, when James Tarkowski headed in from a corner, a situation that the United defence neglected, but many blamed on Zirkzee's lack of attacking support, forcing the team to take risks. As the final whistle blew, Old Trafford fell into a heavy silence. A pensive-looking Ruben Amorim refused to comment directly on Zirkzee in his post-match press conference. "We had limited options today. Joshua tried, but we clearly need to improve in the final third." That only fueled the fury of fans. On social platforms like Twitter, now X, and Red Devils forums, the hashtag #SellZirkzeeJanuary exploded within an hour of the match. Fans, long patient with the board's mistakes, now turned their attention to the young Dutchman. Leading the wave of criticism was Michael Owen, the former Liverpool and Manchester United striker, who posted on his personal account, "Honestly, I can't watch Zirkzee without feeling excited. He's not the player United need. He's never excited me." The harsh comment quickly received thousands of likes and retweets. A famous fan on Reddit, with the account Red Devil Fanatic, wrote, "One word to describe Zirkzee's performance against Everton? Invisible. Both headers were from 10 yards or more. He never got in between the 2 Everton centre-backs. That's where the breakthrough could have been, but Zirkzee didn't see it." The comment was upvoted more than 5,000 times, becoming a symbol of collective disappointment. Other comments were even harsher. "Letting Zirkzee play the full 90 minutes was a crime for Ruben Amorim. Zirkzee had his chance but wasted it. If Zirkzee is the answer, then I don't understand the question, and he should leave here in January." On Facebook groups of MU fans in Vietnam, such as Vietnam Red Devils, hundreds of similar comments flooded in. "Amorim, don't let Zirkzee ruin the team anymore. Sell him in January. Use the money to buy a real striker." This anger is not accidental. Manchester United are in 8th place in the Premier League, 5 points away from the Champions League group, and the defeat to Everton, a team struggling to stay in the league, was the last straw. Zirkzee, on £120,000 a week, was expected to be the long-term solution to United's finishing woes following Marcus Rashford's departure to PSG this summer. However, his statistics this season have been dismal: just 2 goals in all competitions, a chance conversion rate of just 8%, and a passing accuracy of just 72%, lower than goalkeeper Andre Onana. Compared to Haaland, who has 7 goals despite starting only 60% of the games, Zirkzee is clearly a liability. Fans remember the glory days of Wayne Rooney or Ruud van Nistelrooy, strikers who not only scored goals but also made a difference with their presence. Zirkzee, on the other hand, seems out of place in Amorim's 3-4-3 system, which requires strikers to both press and contribute to the build-up play. More broadly, the Zirkzee incident reflects deeper problems at Manchester United under Ineos ownership. The board, led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, have spent more than €200 million on attack in the last 2 seasons, but the result has been chaos. Rashford left amid disagreements, Antony has failed miserably, and now Zirkzee has become a disaster. Ruben Amorim, despite his talent, is under enormous pressure. He arrived at United with a Primera Liga title under his belt with Sporting, but things have been much more difficult in England. The decision to play Zirkzee for the full 90 minutes may have been a tactical mistake, but it also shows a lack of squad depth. Amorim admitted after the match, "We need Sesko back soon. Joshua has potential, but he needs time to adapt." Time, however, is something United fans do not have much of. With a tight schedule, next up is the Manchester derby against City on the 30th of November. Any further mistakes could put Amorim in danger. Pundits were unforgiving. Gary Neville, on Sky Sports, commented, "Zirkzee is not a Premier League striker. He has the technique, but he lacks the killer instinct. Amorim should sell him in January and target a name like Victor Osimhen from Napoli." Jamie Carragher was more scathing. "To have a player like Zirkzee start against Everton is an insult to United's history. They need to act now." Major newspapers such as The Guardian and BBC devoted their front pages to the match, with the headline, "Zirkzee's Nightmare, United striker woe deepens." In Europe, the incident spread, with Germany's Bild mocking, "Bayern have sold the right man. Zirkzee was never ready for the big stage." So what does Joshua Zirkzee's future hold at Manchester United? January 2026 is approaching, and the calls for an immediate exit from fans are no joke. Clubs like AC Milan and Juventus have been rumoured to be interested, ready to pay €25 million to save Zirkzee from Old Trafford. Zirkzee himself, in a short post-match interview, admitted, "I'm disappointed with myself. I will work harder to meet expectations." But will that promise be enough? With Sesko expected to return in February, Zirkzee could be relegated to the bench permanently, or worse, become a scapegoat for Moo's top four ambitions. Zirkzee's story is not only a personal tragedy, but also a testament to the harshness of top-flight football. From a bright talent in Serie A, he became a victim of pressure, expectations and wrong decisions. Manchester United fans, with their passionate love, are now demanding change. The crime they are referring to is not Zirkzee himself, but the fact that he is allowed to continue wandering on the pitch without proper support. Ruben Amorim, if he wants to save the season, will need to act decisively. January will be the time of reckoning, and will Zirkzee still have a place at the Theatre of Dreams? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the Everton game has been etched into United's history as a stain, a reminder that talent alone is not enough, luck, strategy and a little magic are also needed.